What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I thought we would look at a pretty interesting rumor that's been floating around the internet, and that is that WB Games is interested in selling NetherRealm and TT Games, and TT Games being the ones that make the Lego games. Okay, so those are the two. Now, I thought this would be pretty interesting. We've talked a little bit about this before in past videos, and I am going to address or bring back up what's been talked about in those videos. This comes from Jez Corden, and again, this is one of those situations where you take it with a grain of salt. It could happen, it could not happen, and it does connect once again to the past things that we've talked about. But basically, he's talked about how WB, again, is interested in selling off NetherRealm and TT Games. He says he has physical documents to prove it, so that's pretty interesting. He doesn't know who would buy them, but he doesn't. But he believes that WB Games doesn't see them in their scope in terms of like what they would be doing in the future. Now, again, there's been rumors that, in fact, I believe all that they've officially said is that pretty much every studio is going to be making their way over into the merge with Discovery, right? So, again, you take it with a grain of salt. I want to bring up really quickly the rumors of about a month or so ago. Remember, before Xbox's E3, there were the rumors of Microsoft purchasing several studios, and I'm going to, bring up a couple of them in a second, but two of them being NetherRealm and also being Rocksteady. Now, what's interesting about those older rumors is that, well, number one, now we have crossover between those old rumors and right now. So again, back then, it was NetherRealm and Rocksteady. Right now, it's NetherRealm and TT Games. Now, what people have talked about in terms of, the Lego stuff is that they don't make all that much money based off of that, just because of licensing, or actually the license of the Lego IPs, and that could be a reason why you would want to drop the Lego studio, right? That makes sense. That wasn't talked about again back then, but NetherRealm is one that look, he talks about, or maybe somebody else talks about potentially because of like Mortal Kombat, and they don't see that, because of the reception to the movie and all that stuff. I don't know why you would want to drop something like NetherRealm, unless you kind of knew that they were done, say, with Injustice. If the rumors are right that they're doing more Marvel stuff or even Marvel cross DC. But again, going back to those older rumors, what's interesting is, remember, those were two studios Microsoft was looking to buy. The rest of them, I believe Crytek was one of them, IO Interactive was the fourth one, and the fifth one was Avalanche Studios, not Avalanche Software. Avalanche Software is the ones that make Hogwarts Legacy. Avalanche Studios is the one that's made Just Cause. They were kind of like a co-developer on Rage 2. And what's interesting about that one is, if you guys watched the Xbox E3, that game Contraband is from them, and it's going to be it's going to be, I guess, exclusive to Microsoft. Now, I found it interesting that when they showed off that game, the first thing they showed was Microsoft Game Studios, almost implying that they had bought them, which would, confirm the rumor about a week or so before then. Honestly, like a week or so ago, I just saw an interview from, I believe, like their CEO or, someone high up at that studio, and they did say, like, it's not, they're not bought by them, but they're working with them, obviously, exclusively to make Contraband. So I don't know if Microsoft has secretly purchased them and just nobody has said it yet. Remember, obviously, there were all those rumors that Microsoft had 25 game studios or even 27 game studios or 26, somewhere in that realm. And then even when Phil Spencer was talking about it at E3, he said more than 23 studios, even though Xbox has 23 studios. So why did he say more than? Again, am I suggesting something? Maybe. I mean, the Avalanche stuff is just confusing to me, that I think that they have maybe secretly bought Avalanche Studios. Again, that has nothing to do with WB Games. It's just that they all kind of connect to each other. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I mean, it's definitely would be up for anybody's grabs. And look, you got to remember that, right? If they're selling off these studios, it would be anybody's game. They could self-publish. They could, obviously doing it on their own, or they could be bought. But actually, no, you know what? If they are owned by them, unless they were to kind of buy their rights, right? Buy themselves out, which has happened In some cases, it mainly happens for studios buying IPs to their game, right? A studio that makes a game, but the game IP isn't owned by them. They'll buy those rights. That's happened, but it's happened not very often. In fact, actually, Hitman is an example of a franchise that's happened to. But, you know, I don't think that would necessarily happen. I think somebody would buy them. So that would be the question, right? NetherRealm, makers of Mortal Kombat, makers of Injustice, makers of whatever the next game that they make that's probably neither of them, seems to be on the the selling block, right? And also TT Games. It's a little worrisome too, by the way, with Star Wars. If they're looking to sell them, can you at least get that game out there before you do that, right? I don't know how much maybe turbulence is going on inside that studio, but definitely interesting. Again, NetherRealm is that connecting piece. We've heard NetherRealm, actually, I believe this is the second or third time now that we've heard that. So, in my opinion, for something like this, it's kind of like where there's smoke, there's fire, right? I don't necessarily want them to be sold. Honestly, I know people would say, you know, rooting for Microsoft. Maybe you would root for Microsoft over companies like EA or like Take-Two, stuff like that. Maybe you would root for them for that. But honestly, I would just say keep them where they're at. I feel like they're already in maybe the best situation they could be right now. Putting them on something else immediately either brings worries or brings exclusivity worries, right? It brings some sort of danger to it, right? So let me know, guys, in the comments below, what do you think? Do you think either of these are getting sold? Do you think maybe Rocksteady still gets sold? Again, that one wasn't re-mentioned here, but it has been mentioned before. Let me know what you guys think. As always, make sure you guys are subscribed, bell icon turned on, leave a like if you guys did enjoy this video. I definitely appreciate it. If you guys want to follow me on any of my social media accounts, all the links are in the description below for you guys to check it out. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all on the next video.